Because maybe we'll finish the Maimer and we'll go back to the order and more people come. So let's just finish the Maimer. But that's important to correct. So going to Izvav. How could the Frierdiker Rebbe have said that we're unlike our forefathers who had actual Mesiras Nefesh when he has actual Mesiras Nefesh saying those very words? So what sense are we not like? But now that we explained the second darge in Mesiras Nefesh, that the Mesiras Nefesh Gufa is Imcha. So it's two opposite taiches in the word Imcha. It's important to appreciate. Opposite taiches. The first taich Imcha means that we are primary and the Eibishter secondary. And the answer to that is because yes, Yireh Shamayim and Mesiras Nefesh and Avodah is only something we can give Hashem. If he takes it from us, there's no Avodah, and his whole desire is we're looking for is frustrated. So therefore it has to come from us. That's the first Taich Imcha. The second Taich Imcha is that with you, the emphasis being you, that this Mesiras Nefesh Gufa is not my Mesiras Nefesh. The Mesiras Nefesh is as a result because of you. This is what you want. Then again, it's not a struggle, not a choice. So it's this fusion of, again, freedom from choice. So are you choosing or you're not? Yeah, but you're choosing, and it's a level of choice that's not a choice. Choosing not to have to choose. Struggle every day. It's not a question of mastering resolve. It's a question of Elikus, the Eibishter, Gamarno. So the word Imanu, it's important to appreciate, conveys these two opposite things. The Avodah and the bittul of the Avodah. It's with you. You play a role here in my bittul. You're the cause of the bittul, as opposed to my dogged determination. The paradox is that it's easy for such a person. He's not struggling all the time. He's transcended the struggle. It's kind of the mamish, in a sense, it's the level of the tzaddik gomor of Tanya, in a way. But at any rate, that's why he's saying, he can say, out of humility, the Frierdiker Rebbe can say that we're not like our forefathers, because in this darga, if it's all you, it's endless. Or in the words of the Maimer, kama v'kama dargas. Why doesn't he say endless dargas? Yesh la'ayin. But anyway, he says many dargas. So continue, yesh levayir, as we said this yesterday, with 4 lines into Eizvav, to appreciate it again. Or maybe to begin with. We had another problem, a contradiction. We're resolving these contradictions, these tensions. It is Mesiras Nefesh. It's not Mesiras Nefesh. Imanu, we're primary. Imanu, we're second. Where it's all you. This is all explained in the Maimon now. And therefore, another contradiction. It's shaykh to say about that in the words Hashem should be with us, he spells it out with 2 opposite translations, meanings. Yehi lashon haftacha, that in addition to the bakasha, the request, he also, in the same breath, says, Yehi is lashon haftacha. That zaymituns. You can't have it both ways. You're requesting means you're not certain. And if you're certain, you don't have to request. Just make a statement of fact. How can you both request and be certain? It's exactly what we're talking about here. It's your bittul, your avodah, but the nature of your avodah is that it's not me. But this itself is your choice that it's not you. So the same thing is expressed in this externally a superficial contradiction. And it's resolved because, as he says now, let's see again, at what level are they contrasting request and certainty? Please be with us. You will be with us. At what level are these opposites? That's when when there's two things here. Tefillah is a person's request, and aftocha, that's God's gonna yes or no. Right, he's gonna assure or not. It's milamayla. And there's a level of tzaddikim where this duality remains, this natural duality. Me and God, two things. Kashem mitzias b'dakas upon the lower level of tzaddik, lower. You're lower relative to the level he's speaking here, but the lower level, it's a bedakas, he adds in brackets. On a subtle level, at any rate. I'm sorry, the words on the Gam Kashehu Hey Mitzias, the lower level of tzaddikim when they are Mitzias, when he's the tzaddik, he's the Ovid. So he's a Mitzias, and he adds in brackets, bedakas upon him, at least on a very subtle level. Tefillah v'aftochem shnei inyanim. So prayer, request, and assurance are two separate things. The haftacha in a case where haftacha tzaddik, when the tzaddik does give an assurance, that's not him. That's that's because God told him. You can assure them. Yeah. What's his tefillah? Tefillah tzaddik. That's his prayer. So this low level of tzaddik could give an assurance, but whose assurance is he giving? The Eibishter's, which sometimes is forthcoming, sometimes is not. He davens. But then there's a level of tzaddik of bittul gomer. Here the tzaddik fuses the opposites. On the one hand, it's avodah, and therefore that makes him an entity unto himself. But this entity has surrendered its own entity. Not devoted is one thing. Devoting himself is not devoting himself. This is utterly transcending himself. This is not about me. This is you and the finished. You need Shabbos is Shabbos. You need a beard is a beard. So when it's betachlis abitul, this high, it speaks out the Fidik Rebbe, the Chemeidik. Obviously, as we all know, the tzaddik says something about another tzaddik, unbeknownst to him. It's not. He's actually revealing where he is. If time will tell the story, I'll tell you. Just realizing we haven't told it in a while. We'll see how it's
like after the like an after the Rebbe.
Yeah.
The Rebbe says that he passed on himself, that he's the Nasi Ador. All there said.
Used to be about the Fidik Rebbe, yeah.
Yeah.
The Freud midaita, shalom midaita. So it's based on a Mishnah Pirkei Avos. So back to the tzaddik, but the high level of tzaddik, when his avodah is therefore is such that even his avodah, which is b'keich atzmai, the mitzius, nonetheless in betachlis habitul. His whole avodah is Hashem, and therefore at the same time tefillah and bakosha, not two separate things. Tefillah is his bakosha is I'm sorry, not bakosha and haftocha. The bakosha is his avodah. The haftacha is the expression of his avodah, the result of his avodah. And of course, the Eibishter will. And he says it assuredly. Not b'shlichus shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The chiddush is, this is his avodah. His avodah is to give the assurance of the divine, of Hashem. Why? Because his whole avodah is Eibishter and nothing else. No, the Eibishter doesn't want us to be good. As I gam bat tefillah bakosha shaloi, we have to think this through, because even in his request, in the request, yesh gam minyan haftacha. There is the assurance in his avodah. Because there's not shlichus shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. God is giving him a message. Tell him, yes, it's a done deal. His very avodah expresses the absoluteness of Elikus in his very avodah, to the Eibishter. He expresses that you are the only reality, and it will be, because that's what his avodah is. So it's simultaneously or at once. Bakosha naftocha. It's got to be thought about. I'll give it more thought. Be'ez Hashem, maybe we'll have more ideas. Let's continue. Yesh lo'isiv. Now comes the most extraordinary part. Yesh lo'isiv ends similar to this. That we're talking here the highest level of tzaddik. The nasi adoi yechide mamash, or maybe even higher than yechide, as he says in the V'ata Tetzaveh. Yechide is also a darge. Mamash gilui of the etzem haneshama, which the Rebbe embodies transparently, consciously. That's his whole quote unquote mitzius. Now he adds the me'enze shegama mitzius hi bebitl. You don't disappear. We need your avodah. It's the whole point of it. The whole point is your avodah. But his avodah gufa is complete bittul. He's no hero. Not his resolve. It's just the truth of godliness. So this himshich gamba makusharim v'shayochem ela. So he was mamshich and those that are connected and have a shaykhis to him. Al Yidei, through Shehishrish Bahem, he literally rooted in them. Enrooted. Mesidus Nefesh, he rooted as he means placed into the kishke, to the fiber of their being. Mesidus Nefesh, Gam al Inyonim Shalpidin, Tzividilamayla. Mesidus Nefesh, but Chsidim, even for those things that Alpidin, in terms of Hashem's commandment, that comes Milamayla, Ein Mechuyev Limsinaf Sharleim. You don't have to Mesidus Nefesh, and that's the kind of Mesidus Nefesh he had to translate, but something takes root. And it's completely one with that which it takes root with. And this he implanted in us, maybe another word, but it's weaker. A Mesidus Nefesh for things that Torah says you don't have to have Mesidus Nefesh. For those things it's easier because that's elicited from you, like love comes to you. This is the Emesa Yiddishamayim, the Emesa Oitzer. This is Mesidus Nefesh Mitzad Ha'odom. This is what the Rebbe is saying, the Fidik Rebbe. Gave to us in the deepest way, intertwined with our very, very being. And the Mesidus Nefesh for such things, they're not dinim or halachas, doesn't say anywhere that you have to have a full beard. That's nowhere from that. A beard you could argue, but it could be trimmed. So even such things, it's not a debate. It's not even shaykh to be otherwise. So on the one hand, the two brackets, look at them. It's Mesidus Nefesh Mitzad Adam, and at the same time, it's Mesidus Nefesh Mitzad Elikus. I'm the hero. The Eibishter doesn't want a credit, hero, a martyr. Again, of Mendel, such chassidim, mamash. This is what they were. And they're chassidim like this today. And the point of this maamar is that we all shaykh to it. All makusharim and shayochim. There's two levels. Makush is bound up. Mela, you're bound up so you can have even shaykh. You have a shaykhus with the Rebbe. This avodah of this absolute Mesidus Nefesh, mitzad olikus, he gave, implanted in every year. This is V'ata Tetzaveh. Therefore, This, Rebbe concludes, that his request was also an assurance. The Eibishter will be with us. It's true of all the Chassidim that they should know that it's not just a request, it will be. The Eibishter with you will be Matzliach. And all of the halamas vestadim and concealments will disappear or be transcended. He's talking not in our avodah, but he faces struggles, not in Soviet Russia, but we in many ways our understandings are greater. Starting with this, that opened up the whole schmutz of the world, and the shtus of the world. The way it's great. So he's saying that we have, the Rebbe gives us the koyach, not just to resist and resolve, but to be in a level with, hey, I'm a chassid, I ain't going there. It doesn't talk to me. I know it's nice, but not for me. Not for me. That's Misad Elikus. Not for me because I'm a chassid. Yeah. It's an Eibishter and finished. With the kuyim aftocha, and it'll be fulfilled with all of us. That concludes the bracha. Elokenu Imanu, says the pasuk, Asher hoyim aviseinu al yazveinu val yitzenu. The Eibishter will be with us like he was their forefathers. He will not forsake us, not abandon us. And he explained in the Maamar here all of the dargas. We're going to review it in a moment. Before we do the order. This is the lashon of the Sikha, the Gimel Tammuz, 1927, that for all Yidden will be light, now let's revisit the order 26, which yesterday at the start we didn't learn Pshat correctly. In fact, we learned the opposite of what it's saying. So let's have a look again.
Maybe you could ask Levi to remove part of it and just
right.
Because if somebody learns one part of the shir and doesn't not the perhaps
good idea. So what he said in the Pnim was like this. The Pnim in the Maamar, it's the body of the Maamar, explained the difference between im and es. Both mean that the other something is with something else. So that something is secondary to the something else, but im means there's comparable, and es means completely secondary, completely tough, much far less significant. Now with this, Hara 26 again, read it. We understand the change in the same subject matter. Hashem's talking to Moishe Rabbeinu and his relationship with the Skenim. The language subtly changes. Bring them to the Oyel Moed, and they will stand together with you. And then as a result of that, they will carry with you the burden of governance, of leading the people. So im and es overall mean the same thing, but as we've said in the Maamar itself, the big difference, im means there's a degree of equality, and es means they are absolutely of a secondary, a lesser stature. Why the change here? This very same subject of Moishe and the Skenim, because it depends where the matzah. When are they with you and comparable with you? When they go into the Elokenu to see Hashem speak. The Moishe of Skenim, K'meishavim, they're like equals. Now we'll soon see the K'mei, whites in brackets. It'll become clearer in the start. The emphasis is not the K'mei. The emphasis here is equals. Im, but it's not mamish equal because im means secondary. But the kvetch here is the equal part. So by in the Oyel Moed, in the presence of the Eibishter, you're equal with them. But then when you move away from the Oyel Moed, we're not speaking about in the presence of God revealed, but engaging the world in dargas and ishtalshalus, dealing with the people, when you're actually dealing with them, the distance was greater. It's felt there in their actual engagement of the world that they are far less than Moishe Itach. But as they stand in the Oyel Moed, the distance shrinks. In the face of God, there's an equality. That's the Kvetch Shovin. Clear? That's written in the Pshat yesterday. Now, Lahoyer Mikidushin, the Hoyer is not a Shaila. Lahoyer is actually saying the same thing in Kedushin. We see in Gemara Kedushin. I'll tell you the players here and what they represent. The Melech is the Eibishter. What's the story there? The story there is, the Gemara is saying why Uriah was Chayiv Misa, because in the presence of the Melech, he called Yoav, the general, Yoav's general, his Adon, his master. In the presence of the king, you're calling someone else Lord. What should be there is you and the Yoav are the same in the presence of the king. So that's what he's saying. The similar thing in Kedushin. To Uriah Moeded b'Malchus, why was he considered a rebel? If the Gemara says he deserved to die, and therefore legitimately he died, even though he died on the front, etc. It's all to explain that David HaMelech's marriage with Bathsheba is justified, the death of Uriah, because he was made of Malchus. So far, the equality, yeah? Are we clear? The players here. The Melech, the Kvetch is not David, the Kvetch is Melech, representing Melech Malchi Amlach. Gentlemen, I need to know if you're clear. The Melech is the Eibishter, to parallel the things over here. Yoav is Moishe Rabbeinu. Uriah is the Skenim. In the presence of the Melech, has got to be Imach, equal. Like the Oyel Moed. Melech Eibishter, Moishe Rabbeinu and Skenim, that's Yoav and Uriah. Clear? Hello, but Be'emes is not exactly the same. And that will explain why it's not mamish equal. K'may shavin. The model is not the same. Because of who in the pasuk, let me just tell you outside. In the pasuk, then God is not actually revealed. They're not standing before the Melech. He hadn't spoken yet. They're standing by the Oyel Moed. When the Eibishter speaks, then Taka, absolutely equal, not even Imach, which is equal but less. Mamish equal. Why is it Imach over there? It's not the same as the story where with David the Melech and Uriah and Yoav, because they're Mamish in the Melech, the parallel, facing the king, the prince of the king, the parallel will be God speaking. There was before the Eibishter spoke. So it's close, but not that close, and therefore there is an equality between Moishe Rabbeinu, but he's still greater. Mamish lifnei HaMelech, mamish of it. So it's not exactly the same parallel. When they move, to like this, so it comes out like this, but in the matzav of the Mishkan of Moishe and the Skenim, there's three matzavim. There's three matzavim. Matzav, while God is speaking, absolute equality. Standing in the Oyel Moed, equal to a degree, but Moishe Rabbeinu it's still imach, they're secondary. Moving away from the Oyel Moed, engaging in the Elam Hazeh, Itach, Moishe is primary and the mamish bot. The distance becomes greater. We're clear? So equal while the dibur, that's Lifnei HaMelech, that's the story of Uriah and Yoav, but that's not our case. Our case, there is room for him. It's not exactly the same. There is equality, but still he's superior, greater, closer, because God hasn't spoken yet. It's Lifnei HaDibur. Are we clear on the three matzavim? So standing before the Melech, everything is equal. Standing in the antechamber in the palace of the king, before you're going in the Gan Eden Tachten, as it were. So there's an equality, but still, a bigger chassid, lesser chassid. But it's certainly a great equality, just being in Gan Eden Tachten. Big equalizer there. We need to go into Yechidus and experience this. Little pisha from Melbourne and big heads of state and big Gedolei Yisrael. We're all waiting with the same the silence and bittul. There's still a difference. There's still a respect. I guess who went in first, went in later. Senior statesmen went in earlier, others went in later. In the Rebbe's room, mamish kulam b'shav. But then walking out of Gan Eden Natachten, and the shlichus, he's the big rabbi, my little bacher, the distance is greater still. But clear? Yeah? Let's read it in the order. Now we'll see it in the order. Lahari mikidushin. Lahari means to say, what we're saying over here in the footnote is what's expressed in Kiddushin. What's the footnote saying? That by the oil moyed, it was imach, equal. Same thing over there. The Uri made it b'malchus, they should call the Yehi od mifnei melech. He didn't express the imach. He called Yehi, calling Yehi and Odin in front of the king. It's not exactly the same. Ki amaduba b'kosu b'inyan knisasan loyal moyed, where the pasuk is that we're talking about is they're going to the oil moed, the shmaya dibur, they're going to hear God speak, so it's a holy place. So there is an element of what? Of equality of shavin, but it's lifnei shahaya dibur. It's not his galus, it's not mamash b'fnei hamelech. Therefore, they're with you, shagam, which means, like he said, look at the thing, heim kemai. Moishe Skenim Shovin, but he puts in brackets Kemoi, because Imach still implies equality, but secondary, because this is before the Dibur. Shagam Imach made out Tofel. Imach goes on Tofel. The distance isn't that great to say that it will stand Itach with you. So distant. When is the Abish to say Venosu Itach away from the Oil Mayat? Engaging the world in Ishtalshalus, there's a big difference. So the three matzavim, the Eibush speaking, being in the Oil Mayed, and then the actual avodah. So you need the alien, you need Natachden, and then the rest of the world we go out to carry out the shlichus. We're clear. In Gan Eden alien, kulam b'shav. Or Pashat in 770, because the Rebbe is there, it's kulam b'shav. Let's Gan Eden alien. Let's verbringen by davening. Afapidith, as elders said at a special place. But there were moments, trust me, this all just collapsed. And then it was giving out something all of a sudden that wasn't expected. The whole hierarchy just collapses in a moment. Skeinim, Norim, and the Skeinim are not like, what? Excuse me, there's no, they don't expect. There's absolutely not. That's just to keep order. So you sit here, you sit there. It's technical. But if something is like galus of the Melech Mamish is not, you weren't prepared for, bring the whole Seder is over. Kol Peshet Yad put him Tavshin Chavav on other occasions. All of a sudden there was a Gilui, Yud Beis Sivan, Tavshin Nun Aleph. The Fabring in the afternoon, they became, it was complete mayhem. All right. It's already what? 6:30. Okay, friends. So we're going to do the summary on Monday and start the new Maimon.